Welcome to creating an elevator speech. I want you to visualize this thing. You are inside the elevator, you just entered the elevator, the doors are about to close. When you hear someone say, "Hold the door please," and you hold the door, and your chairman walks into the elevator. You've got the CEO of the organization who walks into your elevator, the door shut. The elevator is going down. You have effectively the chairman of your organization exclusively all to yourself for not more than 30 seconds. Not more than 30 seconds. I want to ask you a question. What can you say to him or her in that 30 seconds which has the potential to change your life? Give it some thought. Put yourself in that situation. You are in the elevator, the chairman just walked in, he does not know you, she does not know you, but you have the opportunity now of exclusive attention to you for 30 seconds. What can you say that has the potential to change your life? You know, in networking events, when people all get together to meet, various chambers of commerce or whatever, the most common question asked is, what do you do? And the biggest mistake that people do is they actually answer that question. They tell people what they do. I want you to listen very carefully. The most common question asked is, what do you do? And the biggest mistake people make is to tell people what they do. And I'll tell you what you should be telling them. Very important to understand that unless we are prepared, there is no way that you are going to be able to answer that question effectively. The spontaneous responses that you see from people are the result of conscious preparation. Conscious preparation delivered spontaneously. You must be prepared to answer this question, what do you do, in a clear, concise, enthusiastic, and memorable way. And all of that in 30 seconds or less. And remember, the introduction is the beginning of any relationship. So what should you do? When someone says, what do you do? As I said, when people ask you, what do you do? The biggest mistake you can make is to actually tell people what you do. Because, believe me, somebody who's asking you, what do you do, is not really interested in what you do. He or she is interested in what you do, how does it help me? Now obviously nobody asks you that question. They won't tell you, tell me what you do, how does it help me? But that is what is in their mind. So the biggest mistake you make is, someone says, what do you do? You say, I do this. For example, if you are a chef in a hotel, and someone says, what do you do? You say, well, you know, I cook food. Now, what an amazingly interesting thing that is, yeah? To listen to somebody, I cook food. So big deal. So you cook food. So does my grandmother. So does my maid in the house, you know. So what? Big deal. But instead of that, if you were to say, someone asks you this question, what do you do? And you are this chef in this big hotel. And you say to that person, why don't you come tomorrow for lunch to my hotel, and I will show you what I do. How about if you say to this person, how about I treat you to this amazing meal of frog's legs that you've never had in your life? How do you like that? Then maybe the person hates the idea of frog's legs, but they are now listening to what you have to say. Because you just told them something that affects them. So the question to ask is, number one, when someone says, what do you do? You know what they're asking you? They're asking you, why should I remember you? That's a rude question, so they won't ask you that, but that's what's in their mind. Why should I remember you? So two things you need to do. Number one is say, does my opening statement make the other person say, okay, so tell me more? Tell me more. The key thing is, give them a brief and exciting description of what you do to entice them to ask you for more. As I told you, the beginning, the opening, the elevator speech is less than 30 seconds. But you know and I know that you can't tell people about what you do and how that is so amazing and how that is so life-changing in 30 seconds. So what do you need to do? You need to buy more time. How will you buy more time? So make yourself stand out. Paint a word picture. Remember, people think in pictures, they don't think in words. If I tell you the word child, what are you thinking? If I tell you the word mother, are you thinking M-O-T-H-E-R, or is the picture of your mother in your mind? If I tell you say the word dog, what's in your mind, D-O-G or your dog? If I say the word lion, what is in your mind, L-I-O-N, or a picture or a photograph or some experience of a lion that you had? People think in pictures, they don't think in words. They don't think data, they think pictures. So build a picture in the mind of the person that enables the person to remember you, that makes them want to hear more, that way makes them want to see more pictures. What must you talk about? You talk about what you do best, my expertise. And do that in a way which shows them that this is your life, this is your passion. There is nothing else that you love to do more than you do this. Because when you're excited about your work and your professional interests, you naturally come across as an energetic and passionate person. Passion cannot be faked. Energy cannot be faked. You either have it or you don't have it. If you have it, it'll show. If you don't have it, as I said earlier in something else, go do something else. Don't do this thing. Because if you don't have passion in that thing, you are never going to be good at it. It's not even worth trying. So first and foremost, check what is the level of my passion. Second thing is, think about the other person. Put yourself in their mind. As I said, what are they asking? When they say, what do you do? What are they asking? How can you help me? Why should I remember you? Why is what you do important for me? How does what you do help me? You know, there's a one station that everyone in the world listens to. And what's that station? WII-FM. The one FM station that everyone listens to. WII-FM. What's in it for me? People don't ask that directly because it's impolite, but that's in the mind of every single individual. That's a safe bet to make. So what benefits and solutions do I provide? Offer yourself as a problem solver. Always convey what you do as a benefit or as a solution. Don't say, I sell jackets. Don't say, I sell shirts. Say, I sell you the opportunity to make an impression. Don't say, I sell holidays. You say, tell them, I sell memories. I sell happiness. I sell satisfaction. I sell stress busters. It's not what you do which is important. It's how does that help me, which is the question that I'm asking you. So what makes you unique? What makes you unique? As I told you, if you say I'm an IT professional, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, there are a million like you. You are one in a million. Not one in a million as in standing out, but one in a million as in a million sheep. Doesn't help you. Show how you are really one in a million in terms of standing out. Distinguish yourself from others by accentuating the positive. Say your statement to others you trust and ask for an honest and candid feedback. Your elevator speech must be memorable when meeting someone for the first time. And remember, that's not going to be if you are thinking about it at that time. It is something that you have prepared, something that you have memorized, something that you have repeated over and over and over until it becomes spontaneous. The powerful elevator speech is in fact the most unspontaneous thing in the world, but it looks spontaneous. It comes across as spontaneous, but it's the most highly prepared thing in the world. If it's not prepared, if you're thinking on your feet, believe me, it's not going to come out properly. It's a good thing to think on your feet, but not for elevator speeches. Consider how you want to be remembered, what will make you stand out, what makes you unique, and do that in less than 30 seconds. Now, I come back to the first thing that I told you. I want you to practice this. Imagine that your CEO walks into your elevator as the doors are about to close, and you have him or her to yourself for all of 30 seconds or less. What will you say to him or her that has the potential to impact you positively so that they remember you, which has the potential to change your life? And remember, the first chance comes only once. It's a question of language, and I want to talk to you about the issue of language. In every corporation there are three kinds of languages that are spoken. There is a visionary language at the top, there is a strategic language in the middle, and there is a tactical language in the front line. It's very important to be able to speak the right language. Otherwise, it's like speaking Spanish to people from France, or speaking Latin to people from Greece. You may be saying the best thing in the world, one problem only: they don't understand you. They have no clue what you're saying. You know, I remember I was in Chicago at the Leadership College of Motorola University, and we were having lunch with a group of trainers and faculty of the Leadership College of Motorola University. And one of them remarked, and we were talking about management styles, and one of them said that in Motorola we've always had an open door policy. And I still remember the beautiful response that the principal of the Motorola Leadership College, Motorola University, who was with us, lovely response that he gave, very humorous but very, very pointed and very impactful. He said, you're right. He said, we have an open door policy in Motorola. But he said, you know something? It's not important whether you can walk into the CEO's office or not. He said, what is important is what happens after you walk into the CEO's office. And he said, for some people, when they walk into the CEO's office, after that, they walk out of the CEO's office and they walk all the way home. And he said, that is the problem. The problem is what happens after you get this first opportunity. And for many people, they were perfectly all right until they started speaking. But when they opened their mouths, they just talked themselves not only out of a job, they talked themselves out of a career. And that is of no use to you or to anybody else. So very important to understand the languages that we speak. The languages at the top of the organization is the language of vision. It's the language of global business. It's the language of global trends. It's the language of affecting policy. It's the language of how the external environments affects our business. If you are speaking to the CEO and you say to the CEO, you know, this morning my computer crashed, you just talked yourself out of a job. The CEO just switched off. The CEO is not the person you talk to because your computer crashed. Now you might say, well, you know what? This is a very important thing because I'm a frontline executive. If my computer doesn't work, then I can't function. Very true, absolutely right, but the wrong thing to say to the CEO. Similarly, you come down to the front line, tactical people working hands-on in business, and you talk to them about global economic trends. You talk to them about political changes that are happening in the world which are likely to affect your policy and likely to affect your markets. In Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, you lost them from day one. They don't even know where Kazakhstan exists. The fact that it has some of the largest gas and oil reserves in the world does not affect them. We need to be able to speak the right language at the right level. And that's why, especially for those who are in middle management, those people who probably are watching this video, most of them, the biggest band is going to be people who are in middle management. And for you, the task is even more complex. And that task is to be able to speak not one language, but to be able to speak multiple languages. You have to do the work of an interpreter. You have to speak Spanish and listen to people speaking in Spanish and convert it into Latin and tell people in Latin what they understand, because they only understand Latin. That's your job. How do you translate the visionary language into tactical language which makes sense to tactical people? How do you translate my computer crashed into language which makes sense to the CEO of the organization? It's a question of language, and we need to learn those languages. We need to be able to translate those languages. So the elevator speech to make, and I'm giving you the tools now. So listen carefully. 4 keys to preparing an effective elevator speech. Number 1, speak from the perspective of the others. Speak from the perspective of the listener. Someone says, what do you do? What do you tell them? You tell them how what you do helps them. You don't tell them what you do. You tell them the effect of what you do and how it helps them. So number 1, speak from the perspective of the other. Number 2, show that you have an overall understanding of their issues. Don't talk about your problems. Talk about how your problem affects their success. Do you have an understanding of their issues? Number 3, show how you fit in to their game plan and how you can contribute to their success. Remember, you are speaking to a decision maker. You are speaking to a key customer. You are speaking to a key client. You are speaking to your CEO. You are speaking to the President of the United States. You are speaking to somebody who can change your life for you because they are in those decision making positions. Don't talk about yourself. Talk about how helping you will help them, because that is what they are interested in. And the last one, most important, as I told you, you can't do all of that in 30 seconds. You have to buy time. So pitch for a more detailed meeting. Give them a takeaway to remember you by. Give them an interest where they will say, you know what, I think I want to listen to you more. Why don't you come and see me at such and such a time? Why don't you call my secretary and get an appointment? Tell them I asked you to get an appointment. I want to listen to you more. That is the key thing. I remember one of my first client meetings was with the head of a very large Australian company, which was the back office for a very large Australian bank. They were in the IT, they used to do the IT work for that bank. I called this person, Australian guy. I was warned in advance that he was very taciturn, very short fuse, and they said, you know, he doesn't even like to meet people. So be careful. So I said, all right. So I gave him a call. I said to him, I'm Yawar Baig. I want to come and talk to you about training. I want to show you how my training methodology will help your business to succeed. I remember the man very clearly. He tells me, will 5 minutes do? That was his answer. Will 5 minutes do? My principle in life, somebody tells me, will 5 seconds do? I say yes. So I said, sure, 5 minutes is fine. I walked into the office. We had a 45-minute meeting. Because in that first 5 minutes, I finished what I had to say. I told him, Mr. So-and-so, my 5 minutes is up. I'm ready to go. Tell me when to leave. He said, no, hold on, wait. I want to talk to you. Tell me something more. How do you do this? How do you do that? How does your Indian culture fit in with this thing? We are an Australian company. We think as Australian. How do we translate that in Indian? And so on and so on. And it was a 45-minute meeting which got me 6 years of repeat business. 6 years of repeat business. I only stopped working with them when I moved to the United States. Until then, I worked with them regularly every month, month after month. We used to do training with them. Wonderful people, wonderful business. Why? Because that 5 minutes, I was able to make that 5 minutes count. Now, to start with, 4 critical steps to making an elevator speech. Number 1, create a headline. Think about it like this. Imagine that this person is looking at a newspaper, looking at a headline. What will make them open that paper? What will make them click on that headline to read more? The headline must be something which is exciting, which is catchy, which is humorous, which impresses. Do your own thing. There's no rule to say it must always be humorous. No. Its issue is do what is right for you. Create a headline. But very important, that headline must make them become interested to ask for more. Number 2, answer for them what's in it for me. The headline must answer what's in it for me. I'm repeating myself, but that's the bottom line. Someone says, what do you do? Don't tell them what you do. Tell them how it helps them. So answer for them, what's in it for me? Number 3, buy more time. Because as I told you, you have only 30 minutes, but that 30 minutes is like the hook. It's not the whole meal for the fish. It's the hook which hooks the fish. And buy more time. And number 4, give them a way of reaching you. Remember, the biggest tragedy is that they had this amazing meeting with you in the elevator. They had this amazing meeting with you on the tube or wherever it was, and you had this amazing elevator speech. They recall you, they can see your face, they can remember every single word that you told them, but they have no clue how to find you. Now what's a bigger tragedy than that? Don't leave it like that. Give them something to remember you by. And again, remember, if you just tell them your name, that name they are not going to remember. Especially cross-cultural communication. We think that our name is the most interesting thing in the world. I'm sure it is to you, not to the other person. We think our name is the most recallable, the most memorable thing in life. Maybe it is to you and your mom, not to the other person. He can't for the life of him remember what name you had. Even if your name is Tom or Dick or Harry, they still can't remember that, right? Because there are a million Dicks and Toms and Harrys that they know. Give them something physical that they can carry away with. The best thing, of course, is a business card, but whatever, people have all sorts of interesting things that they give, hand out to each other in order that they should be remembered. Do your own thing, do something that's true to yourself, but make sure you give them something. So create a headline, answer for them what's in it for me. The headline must answer what's in it for me. Buy more time and give them a way of recall. How do they get in touch with you? Example, let me give you some examples of some lovely headlines that I picked up. A dietitian, he says, I teach people how to behave in front of food. An attorney, he says, I empower the powerless. A midwife, she says, I bring life into this world. And my headline, I'm changing the world one mind at a time. That's my headline. I'm changing the world. If they ask me what business are you in, I say I'm in the business of changing the world one mind at a time. And that's the elevator speech. I wish you all success. Make your elevator speech, walk into the elevator and wait for the CEO. Thank you very much.